How much health is on the backline Pokemon? Can they get a move? Is a real question here. I think you're 1, maybe 2 packs away, but just resisted Bullet Seed and resisted Sandtag, resisted Shadow Claw. There's nothing that's not resisted on the Murkrow. Caleb's looking to peck everything down with this Murkrow in low health range, but it is just enough. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today I'll be covering my run at my local tournaments. It was a cup and a challenge. And this, I gotta give a big shout out to the local organizers for this one. The card shop Cycle Turtle, and they're also run by PAL Gaming. And essentially they stream every single round of the tournament, which is kind of crazy. So, and the production value is actually pretty good. No commentators though, so I will commentate over my own matches when I am on stream for some of these battles. But this was one of the first few tournaments of the new meta where you're eligible to use the new Pokemon from the Go Battle League season. And honestly, I think I might have stumbled upon a really solid team. I was just team building, the night before and never really gave this team a shot. However, let's dive into it and see how it all unfolded. Before we get into the battles, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you'd like private one-on-one coaching, scrims against me, some of my league guides and strategies ahead of time, or even tune into my live stream battles, feel free to sign up through the Patreon link down below. Well, we are going to start off with Swiss rounds. So if you're not familiar with locals, there's Swiss rounds, which means everyone plays a certain specific amount of rounds, depending on how many people are at it. So this tournament had a total of 9 of my locals, and so there's 4 rounds. And then because there's 9, there are 4 players that go to a top cut, which is single elimination. So based on the best record, usually one person undefeated 4-0, and then a couple 3-1s, maybe 1-2-2 sneaks in. So I'm going against XjeraldX. A lot of my local. Pretty much almost all my locals are really good at the game, or they keep up with the meta and stuff like that. So we're not really going to face anyone that doesn't really know what they're doing. But we do go against Gerald to kick things off, as you see his team in the top. And things are starting off pretty good, right? I think I have a pretty solid lead. Jelson is quite solid into the Corviknight as long as I shield a payback. He does pivot out, so it doesn't allow me to farm all the way down, which means that allows me to swap out over. I'm thinking, oh shoot, there might be a payback coming. I shield the air cutter. I was like, okay, pretty bold baits, but I just want to get some of this chip damage off before he's able to pivot out. I just want to really get rid of this Corviknight as much as I can. And at this point in time too, I let it go, and ends up being another air cutter. And I throw a surf to get rid of this fur, because fur just has it's too hard to hex down, double resisted. All right, let's see what he comes in with in the back, and it is a Unova Stunfisk. I go straight for the move, I believe, which I don't know if it's the right call or not, but up 2 shield, some people might no shield a potential Rock Tomb, and then it just becomes really, really hard because he can still clear the debuff, right? He's not permanently debuffed at this moment in time. And now I'm thinking, all right, he's probably definitely throwing payback, so I shield it here. And this is why we should read. He has Iron Head. I was like, and he wrote it correctly, right? He's not running the wrong moveset. I just didn't read his team sheet well, and he has fantastic handwriting too, so it's completely on me. So I'm thinking, oh shoot, like that really might have cost me the game, because I'm shielding potentially a debuff air cutter, which does almost no damage to Jelson, or a resisted Iron Head. So no wonder why he didn't throw the payback. There was no payback. That being said, I don't want him to farm me all the way down, so I try to get to a surf. Unfortunately, not able to. He throws a mud bomb. I mean, it's enough to KO, so it doesn't really matter. And now I just need him to force the energy, but I just know that I can't really get to a move faster than him unless he's like energy dry. Unfortunately, he plays it well, maximizes the energy, and just full sweeps with the Unova Stunfisk. Very unfortunate. Reminder to everyone: read your opponent's team sheet moveset well, because sometimes they are not running the moves you may expect it to. All right, so we're down 1 game here. Obviously, these are all best of 3s. And so we'll kind of see how it goes. Altaria in the lead. Not amazing for me, but it could be worse. All right, and then we have the Credillo in the back. So my backline's pretty solid into this. Everything's really decent into the Altaria, so not too bad. We do draw out the Corviknight, and now that I know it's Iron Head, this makes a lot more sense. Because with Air Cutter, it's not as reliable of an answer, but with that super effective Iron Head, it does make this matchup pretty tough, and there's not really much point in me shielding. I think even if I shield debuff 1, he still takes me out in 2, right? So, and I can't really Fairy Wind and Chilling Water him down. So pretty easy for him to just take me out here. So I think I'm going to try to farm down, but he actually hard pivots over to Ferret. I'm thinking, all right. I mean, I was thinking like this is maybe a Trailblazer. I was slow on the swap. He's running Brick Break. Tell me why I did not read the same team sheet 2 times. Yeah, even my cat's sick of it, right? I don't read the team sheet correctly twice, and it may cost me 2 games back to back. I didn't see him throw a brick break on that first game, so I didn't even realize. But I'm thinking, okay, like, this is probably just a Trailblaze. But somehow I managed to misread 2 separate moves, which is pretty rough here. But now that I know that, Altar is really the only thing that throws pretty much anything of decent damage to my Jellicent. So I still have a chance here, right? Air Cutters does a little bit of damage. Everything else is resisted from the Furret for what it's worth. But yeah, you can see double resisted Brick Break. So this is where obviously Trailblaze would come in handy, but this is still not an amazing matchup for me by any means, because even though I do some damage here, I just can't take it out. I'm expecting maybe some type of combo play or something like that, some type of catch. I swap over, and unfortunately, it is not great for me. Yeah, maybe I should just throw in the Surf right away, and maybe I could get to move into the Corviknight. I'm not really sure. But we take our loss there, and then we end up having a bye on the second round because I did lose, and they don't give buys to people that rate 1. All right. Now we are on stream, and obviously there's no audio for this because they were just showing the battles. So I'm going to commentate as if I am commentating 2 random players that I might know, but one of them is indeed me. All right, we're taking a look at my opponent here, and they have like our actual names on, so I guess it's not really. So for those that might not recognize, I'll just say the username. So this is OgunHyuga, I believe is the pronunciation. I might be mispronouncing it. I'll call him Ricky, though. It's a little bit easier. And anyway, so he's running an Empoleon on his team, which is decent into my team. I have some answers, but not great, right? It's good into Florges, Murkrow, Bastiodon. It's got play into Credilli. So I pretty much just need a Jellicent and Marowak. That's the main thing I'm worried about. And like I said, this production quality is pretty good. A little heads up here, too. We're playing on iPads because they have them already connected to the stream docks. So, you know, just if the screen looks a little bit different, that's why. And if we make some weird mistakes, that may be why, too, because players aren't used to the big screen and all those things. All right. Kick things off. You can see Caleb leads Jellicent into the course. Lands a big, hard-hitting Shadow Ball. Super effective. Actually swaps out, though. I thought maybe we would go on for the Hex Sound, but instead comes in the Florges and draws out the Empoleon. This is pretty good for Caleb in the back because Bastion is pretty strong into everything, especially a low-health Corsola. Can't really hang with Bastion, even with energy, and the Wigglytuff's going to do absolutely not great into it. So definitely gets exactly what he wants in this specific situation. And opts not shield, knowing that he has a pretty healthy Jellicent in the back, so can still do some sizable damage. Oh, and barely hangs on with 1 HP. That's absolutely massive. Already boosted by 1 stage, and now is going to grab that first shield from Ricky, avoiding some of that hard-hitting neutral damage. Would have brought the Empoleon pretty low. I don't know if it would have been enough to KO, though, but wants to play a little bit safer, knowing that the Corsola's already taken a lot of damage, right? So if it comes down to it, you don't really want just a Wigglytuff in the back with shields, because the charm damage doesn't do nearly as much ever since they reworked that charm. And in comes now the Galarian Corsola. Caleb going to spend his first shield to preserve the Jellicent with a decent amount of energy. I think it's a good call here, as Corsola is now locked into the Bastion. I don't know if this is the right call or not, though, because now Bastion is going to be stuck into that potential Empoleon in the back. You can see Caleb still has 1 shield. Energy on the Bastion could be nice, and honestly, this is where the bulk of Corsola is going to punish Ricky a little bit, because that allows Caleb to get even more energy for this Bastion. However, you can see Ricky burning down the timer a little bit too. Honestly, I feel like if Ricky came in right away, it might have been a little bit better, but now you can see Caleb's Switch timer is starting to catch up, and now has the Surf loaded, so has a potential for combo play. First Hydro Cannon is going to come through, and it's going to be shielded from Caleb. Obviously, this is all going to be super effective damage, so going to be the most valuable for him at this moment in time. We don't know what's in the back yet, so he is opting to throw the Stone Edge, enough to KO the Empoleon just in case there's something else that Ricky could catch on it, where you get the stab damage of Stone Edge. It's going to be generally better into most of Ricky's team. And in comes the combo play. It's going to be a Surf resisted by this health range. I think it's not going to be enough for the Empoleon. If that is it for the Empoleon, it's going to be really tough for Ricky. Empoleon does go down, and now Wigglytuff comes to charm and charm away. We get a parting Surf, but unfortunately for Wigglytuff, there's a whole Bastion on the back that has a good chunk of health left, and this is not going to be a fun time for the normal fairy type. In comes Bastion. And you can see some chip damage already been landed on the Bastion, but just not enough to make this matchup easy for the Wigglytuff. As you can see, the charm damage doing absolutely so little damage here. Maybe just 1 HP, 2 HP each, and that's just not going to be enough with all resisted charge attacks here too, as the Stone Edge is going to close out game number 1 here for Caleb on round 3 of this tournament. I believe Ricky might have been 2-0 or 1-1 coming into this. Caleb is 1-0 after dropping a series to Gerald, and that first round has a bye here. So these are kind of a must-win scenario for both these players because they need to have at least a 3-1 to guarantee into that top 4 top cut, as neither can go undefeated at this moment in time. Okay, Bastion into a Galarian Corsola, fairly neutral matchup, generally favoring the slightly bulkier Bastion, but if you have a bulky Corsola on your end, you could definitely make this quite close as you get to the charge attacks much faster than the Stone Edges. All right, there's a potential for a catch opportunity onto Empoleon if possible. Ricky might just stay in here and play it out neutrally here. Caleb goes for a pause here, but throws the Flamethrower instead, which is kind of a curious move. Not really sure why he would opt for that, knowing that it couldn't be a potential catch after seeing the Stonch come through. However, still does a decent amount of damage to the Galarian Corsola. If they play out the Zero Shields, it won't make too much of a difference as the next Stone Edge, or maybe even Flamethrower, does KO the Bastion, but you do want to throw Stone Edge if possible here. Another Nightshade does connect onto the Bastion. See Bastion going to hang on quite a bit, and now comes the Stone Edge. We're going to be reached before that third Nightshade comes through, and Ricky is going to drop that first shield. This Galarian Corsola isn't super strong to Caleb's team, so he might offer a swap. Both of the backline Pokemon are very strong into the Empoleon. As you can see, Caleb is going to bring in the Shadow Marowak, and Shadow Marowak pretty safe into all the Pokemon on the side of Ricky. Even though Ricky has a super effective Trailblaze, is going to be shielded up from the Marowak, as most people will opt for. This means, though, that Caleb is going to have even more of an entry advantage into this Furret. Has the back-to-back Bone Club at this moment in time. Does Ricky decide to opt for shields or not? It's a real question because this Empoleon is not going to appreciate the Marowak. And here comes another Bone Club, going to be reached before the Switch is even thrown, and that's absolutely massive for Caleb. If this KOs the Furret, it could be lights out for Ricky in this game number 2. Let's see what happens here. He does survive to get off once with no, not quite. Goes down to the Mud Slap damage right when he got to the move, and now Caleb throws the Bone Club right on charge attack priority. Ricky actually had the move, but opted to not throw, wanted to go for a little bit more energy, but maybe lost count on the Bone Club on the side of Caleb, and now Caleb has free reign here. A shield on the side of the Marowak as well, and that's going to be GG's as Ricky is going to call it there, and Caleb takes a 2-0 victory in round number 3 to keep this top cut dreams alive. And we are back here. It is me versus Andy. Back to my voiceover voice instead of the commentator voice. If anyone's curious why I threw the Flamethrower, it's because I paused anticipating a catch, and then, I'm not really super used to iPad, and after I saw the Stonch come through, I still accidentally somehow fumble and press the Flamethrower. Not the right call, obviously, but here we go. Playing to Andy's team. I do go for the safe swap, but unfortunately AM hard countered in the back from the Credilli, so not going to be a great time. However, we don't know what's exactly in the back at this moment in time, and so I think what I'm going to opt for is just a farm down. Foul Play still does a good chunk to the Stunfisk, so this energy could come in handy, and obviously I can't really tank a Rock Tomb. I'm going to just pivot out right away. In comes a Wigglytuff, which is good for me because I know that this is kind of the matchup I want, right? I didn't... I have like a Core Breaker with the Credilli into the Stunfisk and the Wigglytuff. Reason why I'm not shielding a debuffed Icy Wind is because, they're already debuffed, and also I need shields for this Murkrow to do any kind of damage. I do manage to grab a shield back, which is quite nice with the baits, and now he's debuffed, which gives me a slight opening here. Let's see if it's enough, though, is a real question. So I do go for the Foul Play. I go for another one on charge attack priority. Now this is okay because now I'm putting it in Foul Play range. I have to spend a shield at this moment in time, right? So we're going to shield this up. It's still going to be an uphill battle as he still has a shield. I throw on charge attack priority. I do throw the Drill Peck in case he goes for a catch, which is not the best play by me because if he just shields, he can throw the move and take me out. But he actually opts to no shield, and that gives me a slight opening, but unfortunately he gets the full charm down, and yeah, unfortunately not able to finish off the Wigglytuff with still the shield. If I was able to grab his second shield, maybe. So well played from Andy as we go into game number 2. I definitely have to win this, though, to have a chance to make it into that top 4, as this is round number 4. And I think we're both 2-1 at this moment in time. Okay. Great safe swap counter swap for me, as I am going to get a fantastic matchup. I also found a great lead with the Bastion. My guess that he has maybe double ground in the back or Annihilate could be an option. He has a lot of Bastion counters, but Bastion's kind of really good into 3 of his Pokemon, really bad into the other 3, so it's kind of a coin flip in many of these scenarios. I'm going to go for the Bone Club. I think I do a good chunk of damage, and maybe could even go for the Rock Slide, as Rock Slide is more damage if you can land it, and I do get it, which is huge. And then now in comes the Annihilate. Good that he got the energy lead, because that does help me quite a bit, or help him quite a bit, because otherwise he would get outpaced to these Trailblazers. I'm going to throw Trailblaze at this moment in time. I think it's going to be much more valuable to throw these Fairy Winds, I should say. At this moment, I do grab the second shield. I anticipate some type of combo play, but if I swap a Basset in here, he doesn't combo play, I'm kind of cooked. So in comes the combo play. However, we could potentially get some damage off into energy off from this Credilli, and that's going to be really nice for me, as a Rage Fist not going to be enough here. Going for a little cheeky BM, because, you know, I feel like we earned it. Actually, not really. I hard counter him in that game, but all right. Game number 3, and a little bit more neutral matchup. Not a matchup I win, but I have a lot of play into it, so I'll take it. I think both of us opting for maybe a little bit less RPS, but we'll see. I mean, he might be running the same backline for whatever is worth. Okay, so again, I don't really want to spend both shields right off the bat, so I have to go for a potential catch. I do throw right before the catch opportunity, because right before charge track priority, I should say, because in case he shields, or I could grab a shield, I should say, so I don't have to go down both shields right off the bat. And we managed to catch the Rock Tomb, which is huge, and we draw out the Annihilate. That's exactly what I need in this scenario, because as you can see, I have the Credilli in the back. It's going to be pretty good for me, because I could just peck this all the way down. I'm going to take a lot of damage, though. These boosted counters do quite a bit, even into the Murkrow. I do manage to get the full farm down, which is nice. I might just save the energy. Let's see what he comes back in with. He comes in with the Marowak, which is going to be pretty solid for me. I'm going to shield this move. It's probably going to do a little bit more damage than anything else he could throw, especially because he doesn't really have energy on the Credilli, so I feel pretty good. I have to watch out for a potential another move here. I just have to go for a catch, right? I think that's the most important aspect. I know that he's anticipating it. As you can see, he does go for a pause. Really nice pause, but I can combo play him, which is huge. I don't think he could get enough energy off my Murkrow to get to a move. Credilli might even win charge by priority. I'm actually not sure. But we do manage to survive with the Grass Knot to get this off into the Marowak, which is absolutely huge. And we make it into top cuts. So this is going to be single elimination. Any losses here will be the end of the tournament run. So I'm essentially in the semifinals here against, this is K-Pine if you don't recognize his government name. And let's take a look at the matchup here. Overall, the Murkrow looks pretty solid into K-Pine's team here. We're going straight into game number as both players are ready. It's going to be Credilli into Bastion. A fantastic lead for Caleb to start things off. In comes the Frowgate. I like to safe swap a lot from K-Pine because it's so strong into Caleb's team. And honestly, he comes in the Murkrow, which is kind of weird because he gets outpaced now. Both get to the moves at 5 turns. And even though Hydro Cannon isn't super effective, it's going to do a lot of neutral damage to the Murkrow. And let's see if Caleb decides to spend both shields to fight for switch advantage. But the problem is that I don't think he can even get to switch advantage even if he wants to. He goes for a Drill Peck and K-Pine actually lets it go. So giving Caleb a slight opening to his misplay here, as the Drill Peck is enough to actually KO. Actually surprised there. I thought that Valgard might be able to hang out just a little bit, but not going to be the case. And now Caleb is much more strongly in the driver's seat, as you can see here. He is down a shield. He's at the back-to-back Drill Peck, and this means that he could throw the next one on Charge Track Birdie if he'd like to into Credilli, which really puts K-Pine in a tough position. Does he opt to spend the shield is the real question, or does he put everything on the Shadow Annihilate? And that's going to be the case. He's going to put everything on the Shadow Annihilate. Obviously, if there's a Jealous in the back for Caleb, it could be disastrous, but instead, it's just the Shadow Marowak. You can see both players trying to contemplate, does Caleb go for the shield? No, opts to let it go here. Already did a good chunk of damage, and in case there's a Annihilate in the back, it could be disastrous without shields. That's exactly the case, and now Caleb is in an interesting position here because I don't think he gets enough moves, but he's going for the Mud Slap down. The real question is, can K-Pine take out the Marowak in time and still have enough health for the Bastion, because the Credilli has no health left in the back? In comes the first Rage Fist. It is going to be shielded off from Caleb because you do not want to take that damage. And you can see he's going straight for the Mud Slap down. And unfortunately, K-Pine has to throw this final Rage Fist. It is going to be boosted, and you're going to be able to throw a boost counter at the Bastion, but it is still full health. Bastion doing absolutely nothing this game, but just does enough. 1 smackdown, 2 smackdowns, and that's all she wrote for that first game as Caleb takes a Game 1 victory over K-Pine. Obviously, the safe swap was a little bit less of a clean scenario, but once Caleb managed to maintain switch alignment, and you know, as Bastion users, they love to maintain that alignment. As speaking of alignment, he gets a fantastic lead here into the Feraligatr. Recognizing that Feraligatr is quite strong for K-Pine leading the grass, but even then, this Hydreigon still does a good chunk of damage, and Caleb doesn't have great answers to Wigglytuff, so he is going to opt to spend that first shield. I like this play, though. He goes for the Rock Tomb. This could debuff the Feraligatr if we grab a shield. That's also great for Caleb, but K-Pine opting to let it go. And now Caleb comes in with the Jellicent. Debuff Feraligatr is not going to do nearly as much. The Shadow Calls are still super effective, and the Hydro Cannons will still chunk even for resisted, but Caleb obviously avoiding the Wigglytuff with the Jellicent, with the Murkrow. That's going to be fantastic for him as he's going to try to go for a straight Hex Down. I like this play a lot. The Shadow Call damage is just not enough, and honestly, you don't really need that much health for the Wigglytuff because you've already kind of done your job by maintaining switch advantage. And this is pretty good for Caleb because there's no Annihilape in the back, and the Murkrow is going to play pretty favorably into that. And you can see he's ready for that ground type with that Murkrow in the back, tucked away there. We have back-to-back Surf coming out from the Jellicent. Let's see if Caleb opts to just throw them right away. Yes, he does throw both of them right away. Does he swap out is the real question, as timer is coming up soon. We do grab a shield from K-Pine. That's absolutely massive, as now they are on shield parity. However, Icy Wind is going to be reached. Super effective. Does Caleb opt to shield or not? No. Instant no shield here, putting everything on that Murkrow in the back, knowing that once you get rid of this Wigglytuff, the Murkrow has a lot of play, even if it's a Cordelia in the back for K-Pine, as you are going to be able to outpace. He is actually opting to throw way later than expected, probably not want to give K-Pine any additional energy for his final Pokemon in the back, or even the Feraligatr for what it's worth. And it is not going to be shielded. Gastrodon is going to be pretty strong, though, as, gets 2 full Mud Slaps in. Caleb doesn't get the grass knot off. That's huge for K-Pine. This energy lead is going to help make this matchup against the Murkrow a little bit better. Even though it's not a great matchup for Gastrodon, if you can land a Water Pulse, it's fantastic, as it's going to do a good chunk for neutral, and he goes for a bait. Does Caleb call the bait is the real question. Only on 1 shield piece, and he is going to burn that shield, and that's going to give K-Pine a little bit opportunity for a potential sweep. He has a catch potential, and so does Caleb. Do either players go for it? It's a real question, as Caleb is going to throw the Drill Peck. Is 1 away from the next one. Does he opt to go for a catch? We get a shield from K-Pine. Best shield usage for him here. And tries to go for the catch, but doesn't quite get it, as Caleb, waiting for seeing the pause, is patient. And throws the Drill Peck. The real question is this enough or not? He lets a full Mud Slap go through rather than opting to go for the Peck. Maybe lost track of the energy here, not recognizing that K-Pine was actually not at the Water Pulse, and now comes the Water Pulse from the Gastrodon. Caleb had a chance to go for a catch, but opting to go for the Peck instead, and K-Pine is going to be a fast sack down. Both players don't have energy on the Pokemon. Do they get the KO first? And it's going to be a simultaneous KO. So K-Pine, despite getting countered in every matchup there, still able to make something out of nothing and forces a tie. So the score will remain 1-0 for Caleb as we go into game number 2, technically game number 3 here, leading that Dark Bird yet again. This is not the best matchup. However, with shields up, it is still quite strong, as they're going to be able to dish out quite a bit of damage. Tries to go for the catch, but doesn't quite get it. And now K-Pine is going to throw a move. Does Caleb opt to no shield the potential grass? That's the real question. No, is going to shield a resisted Rock Tomb. That's pretty big for K-Pine, and now he has a pretty solid matchup with this Feraligatr. The real question is, how does Caleb dance around this matchup? As he's already down 1 shield, he's debuffed as well. It's going to be pretty bad to invest in this Marowak, in my opinion. Let's see if he does go for it or not. Or just go, he actually spends both shields right off the bat. The real question is this a mistake or not, as he is debuffed? So it's pretty rough here, as the switch timer is coming up for Caleb a little bit sooner than it is for K-Pine. Let's see if he opts to spend his shield or not, as he's trying to think, okay, maybe he has a Bastion on the back, and because of that, traps. I really don't want Gale's switch advantage, but Caleb comes back in with the combo play of the Murkrow. Murkrow has still a little bit energy, so one shield spent from K-Pine. Not getting too much value out of it, but he does maintain switch advantage, and in comes the Credilli. Murkrow racing for a move as well. They throw on Charge Attack priority, and Murkrow is going to get that Charge Attack priority. If you grab this shield from K-Pine, it could be good for Caleb, but the Florges not going to really appreciate it. Oh, he lets it go, thinking that maybe it's a Bastion on the back and hoping for it, as the Gastro would be quite favorable for it, but no, it's actually the Florges. However, K-Pine still has a shield remaining, so it is not completely over yet. Let's see how he goes for this, and Caleb comes in the Florges, but in comes the Gastronaut as well, and now K-Pine's actually locked into this matchup, so not going to be the best for him here. Does he go for a shield here or not? I mean, if you don't shield this one, the next one's going to hit a little bit harder, so you kind of have to just go for it and let it go, and that is going to be exactly the case here. Water Pulse is going to do a good chunk of neutral damage. However, Caleb's Florges should be able to hang on. Just a few hit points left here. Can he muscle through? He actually comes in with the Marowak. The Marowak's still super healthy. And unfortunately, the shield for K-Pine is not going to save this Credilli from this fast attack pressure, as Caleb is going to take the victory here in the semifinals and moving on now to the finals. I believe finals in the finals is awaiting him is going to be Dreflames. Dreflames, leading up to this moment in time in the finals, has only lost one game. He has won every other game. Was undefeated in the Swiss and looking to be undefeated in this entire tournament. But let's see how it goes, as his team looks pretty solid, has a Shadow Talon play, hard to bring into Caleb's team, but also look at the Murkrow. The Murkrow looks so strong for Caleb as he finds a decent neutral lead in Bastion into Shadow Scizor. Shadow Scizor is not going to appreciate the double super effective Flamethrower, but with shields up, this is a matchup that's much more favorable for Scizor. However, the Smackdown fast attack pressure cannot be underestimated, as Bastion working up to that first move. Trailblaze is going to be thrown from Dreflames, though, going to be boosting up that attack. You see Caleb actually throwing on bad timing here. Trance wants to just get this move off, goes for the Stone Edge in case maybe there's a potential catch. It is enough to KO the Scizor from this range here, and now comes the Murkrow. Didn't want to give the Scizor too much extra energy, maybe throwing on bad timing on purpose for that specific reason. Murkrow is taking a lot of neutral damage from these bullet punches. Does Dreflame swap over? And he does. Now, this draws out the Credilli for Caleb. However, there's still the Galarian Corsola, and that's not a terrible matchup for the Galarian Corsola. You do get outpaced with the new reduced energy from this season for the Shadow Ball for the Jellicent. However, overall, though, it's not too bad, as it is going to be thrown on Charge Attack priority. Caleb opts to go for the shield. Wants to save this Murkrow, knowing how strong it is, into the whole team of Dreflames. Could go for an overfarm here. Oh, opts to throw for a foul play for some reason. Not even the right move of choice, but fully charges it. I don't know if this is going to be enough to KO. It should not be. Might give him a little extra farm. I thought he was going to go for a little extra farm there, but actually does not opt to. Could have left with a little bit more thrown on Charge Attack priority, but opts to instead throw the foul play. Kind of works out. However, he is not at the drill pick yet, which means Dreflames has a chance to maybe throw a move with the Scizor, but Scizor is out of energy and now forcing Caleb to throw his final bit of energy into the Scizor. He lets it go. Maybe going for a Astonish down. Try to sweep with the Corsola in the back. That is going to be playing favorably for Dreflames, as now comes Caleb bringing in the Jellicent. Jellicent is going to be now getting to the Shadow Ball at the same time as the Nightshade. You can see Dreflames not going to throw it. And Shields makes a huge shield call in Shields. That's super effective Shadow Ball. I thought Caleb could have gone for a bait, but I guess maybe thinking that if it wasn't going to be shielded, it would put him in a deeper hole here, as the Galarian Corsola already has so much energy. The real question is, can Jellicent hang on from the super effective Nightshade? Already Jellicent in the yellow, below half health. Does it hang on? Just barely, but doesn't get to the surf. That's actually even worse for him, because now you only take a little bit extra damage from the Hex, but you get extra energy for Dreflames, which is what he needs to deal with this backline of Caleb. And I believe the Murkrow does not have a move, only one peck, so 4 pecks away still from getting to that move. So maybe at best can be used for a catch potential here, as 2 Nightshades will be enough to take KO the Bastion. What can Caleb do? He needs to land, I believe, probably 2 Stone Edge. Maybe 1 should be enough after all this Smackdown damage. Yeah, I think 1 would make it quite close here, as he's going for... Oh, he goes for the catch, and he makes a huge catch here. You see Dreflames not swiping a single bubble. He needs to get to another Nightshade to have a chance, as Caleb's Bastion does have the Stone Edge already loaded up. He goes for some extra Astonish, but the peck damage is now putting it in Stone Edge range for sure, as Caleb is going to be able to get to it. Dreflames one Astonish away from getting to the Nightshade, and Caleb's coming back in this game, somehow finding a way after the Glen Corso was looking prime for a sweep there in the end game. Caleb's going to take the 1-0 lead over Dreflames. It's still a best of 3 as we go into game number 2. Here comes the Thievel from Dreflames. It's going to be very, very strong into that Jellicent. However, Caleb is able to avoid that for the time being as he leads a Bastion into it. A matchup that is not as clean as you would expect. Again, kind of like the Scizor. Thievel has a shield, but if you start shielding and if you boost, it could be pretty solid for the Thievel still across the shield usage. And Caleb's not going to shield the Night Slash as it's just neutral damage, not boosted quite yet. And again, he opts to throw on bad timing here. Throws the Stone Edge, trying to just grab the shield from the Thievel. And maybe in comes the Murkrow, just like last strategy against the Scizor. And here... oh, no, he doesn't opt for it. Interesting. So, maybe just wants to grab a shield, but gave Dreflames some extra energy because of that. And now the Thievel is loaded on energy. Does Caleb go for the swap is the real question here. And now he finally goes for a swap. Oh, but Dreflames gets the boost on the Thievel. He has a play rough loaded, and Caleb may have to shield now that even the boosted Night Slash grew to a good chunk of damage even for resistant, but was at the play rough as well. Gets another boost, absolutely massive for Dreflames, and now this is going to force Caleb's second shield right off the bat. This Murkrow is looking pretty safe into this Dark type, but now has to shield all the resistant moves. But now in comes the Credility. The Switch Hammers are pretty misaligned at this moment in time, so Caleb has the potential to swap back over if he wants to and preserve this Murkrow. The real question is, does he or does he not? Might opt to throw on Charge Attack priority, but you can see the timer is coming up pretty soon. As you can see, goes for the Drill Peck. Oh, he throws right before Charge Attack priority, so this allows him to give him the opportunity to swap over to the Bastion. Does he do it is the real question. In comes the Bastion. Does he go for a catch? Oh, he ends up catching a Rock Tomb. It's going to be resisted. However, this might be good for Dreflames because now the Smackdowns aren't going to do nearly as much damage to the Scizor. His Switch Timer is not up yet though, so Caleb is going to be able to smack it all the way down. He is closing in on the Flamethrower, but not quite yet. The Smackdowns are resisted, so it's actually not too bad for Dreflames. You get a full farm down here. This Scizor with that much energy is pretty scary into both the Jellicent and the Murkrow. The real question is, how does Caleb deal with this? Because he can't swap out here. Now this is going to be so much energy for Dreflames. Look at that. He's already over the Trailblaze needed, almost at back-to-back Night Slash as well. What does Caleb do here? I mean, he might have to go for a catch, but if you just catch here, Dreflames going to undercharge yet again, just like last game, but this time around, he has way more energy to play around with. As you see here, he is going for... oh, Caleb goes for a catch. Doesn't quite get it. But Dreflames... oh, and he makes a catch of his own. That's massive. And now catching all the energy from the Murkrow. He's just a few bolt punches away from the back-to-back Trailblaze 4 against the Jellicent. Jellicent doesn't have energy. Oh, wait. He throws the Trailblaze instead. Maybe it's like miscue, not thinking that Caleb had to move. I don't know, but Caleb was energy dry at this moment in time. So now, giving Caleb a slight chance of an opportunity, he needs to get to double Night Slash for a chance to take out this Jellicent. You can see Caleb shaking his head. He's not at the surf just quite yet. Is he 1 hex away? Is he 2 hex away? Is the real question. Dreflames, 1 bone punch, not enough, as 1 hex was all that Caleb needed. And somehow, out of nowhere, able to capitalize off of Dreflames' misplay there. And takes the victory 2-0 in the finals for the cup. Wow. Okay. What exciting times there too. Didn't see that one coming, but I don't think Caleb did either. As now we are going to heading back to our castles, Wilmer and Dragonite. Okay. Anyway, we're back to voicing over. This is part number 2. We're doing the challenge now. Same players, so same situation. Just less points up for grab here. As this is round number 1. I'm going against K-Pine. He switched up his team a bit, I think. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think the Shao Malmar is here instead of something else. I think he maybe swapped into Corviknight. Not really sure. Anyway, you're going to have to go back in the footage and see kind of what teams he ran. But he does have that pesky for Alligator, and that's not going to be a good time. All right, I need to drink some water here real quick. For those that are wondering, yeah, Dreflames just misclicked. I think he thought that like the Jellicent was already taken out for some reason, but obviously it was still full health, so he just went for the move because he didn't want to get fast attack down or me to get to Drill Peck. But then once he realized the Jellicent was still in the bag, that's, you know, it happens, right? I mean, I was throwing Flamethrower at Corsola for what it's worth. I'll take it though, as it's going to be the win I need. All right, I unfortunately locked myself into a Wigglytuff, but man, Murkrow's kind of nasty here. I'm able to win the series against the Wigglytuff, and now unfortunately I have a really bad matchup into the Corviknight. That's not gonna be good for me. He actually goes for the Air Cutter. Right, he's running Iron Head as well. I did read the team sheet correctly here, which makes my floor just a little bit harder to run into his team as well, just like Gerald's team from the Cup. We'll see how this goes, as unfortunately I don't get the Mud Slap off or Bone Club off. If I got that off, maybe I would have a chance. No, probably not, because he still has to move here. Yeah, so that is unfortunate. GG's. I don't get that move off either. That's just because the sand died cased me out before I get it off. But anyway, I don't know why I was throwing the drill pack. I should definitely be throwing foul play there. Doesn't really matter too much. Find a really bad lead yet again. However, I do get the Bone Club off, which is quite nice. This will be good for later. Yeah, I don't know. I probably need to stay in here, as my backline is fairly strong into Wigglytuff too. So just fighting for some switch advantage, seeing what I could do. Managed to throw, yeah, take him out with a Bone Club. I mean, does he shield this? He just lets it go. All right, so we'll see what's in the back. Probably going to be a Feraligatr, right? I mean, that would make the most amount of sense, I think. But now we have the Jellicent, which is a great matchup for the Feraligatr. Does wall it off. And in comes the Feraligatr. So I'm actually surprised he didn't bring in the Corviknight into the Marowak. I mean, I guess it's not the cleanest matchup, I guess. Especially without payback, right? The air card doesn't do nail as much. So that does actually make a lot of sense now that I think about it. All right. We're able to bait with some Surfs. I figure Feraligatr, he's going to spend a lot of resources into it. And even if I land the Surf and he no shields, I could probably smack down. So because of this, I am able to grab... Oh, he does make a great catch on the Corviknight. And this is fine, too. I was anticipating potentially a catch, because now I can smack down all the way, and one Stone Edge should be enough. Iron Head is not going to do a ton of damage. It is neutral, but we can survive, and we get some good chunk of energy. I don't think he has a move. I'm just going to throw in some bad timing. Just want to get rid of this as soon as possible. I could just fast that down afterward. Don't want to go for some crazy timing here in case he, just takes me out with like back-to-back Hydro Cannon. I don't think he had it, though. All right, we are 1-1 here against Capine. And going to game number 3, a terrible lead for me, especially with the Iron Head. We're going to swap out right away. I'm just going to take this move. It could be Iron Head. I don't think actually it is. I think it's just air cutter energy, but he does boost. However, I just need to try to get rid of this as soon as possible. As you can see, he does have the Credillion in the back, so there's a chance that my... what do you call it? There's a chance that my floor just not the best. As you can see, he throws so much energy. I'm almost at the back-to-back foul play, though, so I'm going to throw one more and then go for it. And he probably no shields, right? Yeah, he doesn't shield it. Oh, in comes the Feraligatr, but I managed to get off the drill peck, which is pretty massive. He shields as well. So now I come in floor, just kind of have to use this some way, shape, or form. And I go for the catch, which is pretty massive. This will help save a lot of things for me. There might be a chance to Wigglytuff in the back. Oh, it's actually the Malamar. All right. Pretty much can't spend any shields at this moment in time because I have to save a shield for the Corviknight. I am going to go for the Trailblaze. The Hydro Cannon. The Feraligatr is what he has in the back. All right, can't shield anything here. It's all resistant anyway. But I just need to save my shield for this Feraligatr. The real question is, does he Shadow Call me down? And he does go for one Shadow Call. I go for the debuff because I just need to potentially debuff him to be able to survive the Shadow Call damage. And now that I'm boosted, the Trailblaze is going to do a good chunk. He does throw the Hydro Cannon, but ends up being on Charge Attack priority. And the real question is, cool, get fast attack down, and I barely get to it. Wow. Endgame there was pretty nuts, but end up working out here, as now we're going to be on stream. They stream, like I said, all the matches, so it's going to be a rematch against Dreflames, and both players are running the same team, so here we go. Rematch from the finals of the Cup, as Caleb finds a fantastic lead into Dreflames' team, and now he's going to go for maybe a chip and dip and see what happens here, as the Drill Peck is going to be thrown. Caleb's backline pretty strong, though. This is very favorable for Caleb. The question is, does he take advantage of this or not? Yes, he does swap, anticipating that there might be a Credillion in the back, and these Mud Slaps are starting to add up. Dreflames going for the bait on the first Night Slash. It does force a shield from Caleb. If he boosts on this, though, that would be really bad for Caleb because he could grab potentially another shield here. There is not going to be a boost. That being said, he does reach the next Night Slash, and Caleb is going to let this go, recognizing that it is not going to be at Trailblaze energy. He is going to get the full Mud Slap down. However, if Dreflames Mud Slaps down, this Marowak could be pretty good for him. One more Bullet Punch is going to put Caleb into the red here, as Dreflames is going to wait out the timer. Now comes the first Bone Club coming and throwing into the Gastrodon. Dreflames not going to shield up any of these, as the Peck damage is not going to take out the Gastrodon, so he could tank the Bone Clubs, but the second Bone Club could do a good chunk. No, Caleb doesn't get to it, though. That's pretty massive for Dreflames, able to preserve as much health as possible, because this win condition is going to be on the backs of this Gastrodon. And you can see he's actually staying in here, anticipating that maybe there is a Bastion in the back, and if that's the case, he needs to do as much as he can here. He doesn't want to leave or swap the Credilli into the Bastion, give Caleb all his energy, and give it a fighting chance into the Gastrodon here. As Caleb going to go for another Drill Peck, but the Body Slam is loaded, and you can see Dreflames with the patience here, avoiding a potential catch, because that could be disastrous if Caleb does catch the Body Slam onto the Bastion. Not a great situation for Bastion to swap into, but that could be the win condition that Caleb needs, as now he's stuck in a really tough position between a Rock and a Mud Boy, because this Mud Boy is going to be able to get the super effective Water Pulse off, and Caleb's just hoping and praying maybe it's a Scizor back. There could be no Scizor because Scizor already used, so maybe it's going to be the Talonflame, but that's not going to be the case here, as he's taking 2 more super effective Mudslaps. Could have been 3, but in comes Straight Flames to Credilli. At this moment in time, even the Bastion cannot overcome this matchup, which is generally pretty dominant, but not at this health range, as Caleb going to throw a parting Stone Edge, but not going to be enough here, as Straight Flames is going to close out game number 1. As the commentators here, I'm going to take a swig of water here, as heard that the commentators are solo commentating, and it's a lot harder than they anticipated. All right, first game does go over to Dreflames. He loves to get a little bit of redemption after the finals of that cup here. We are still in round 2, though, of this challenge, as we find a fairly neutral lead for both players. But over time, the Bullet Punches do add up quite a bit, as Caleb is going to swap over to this Marowak. And Marowak, pretty safe into Dreflames' team. I mean, the Credilli's not a great matchup if you don't land the Grass Knot, so opting to go for a little bit more neutral of matchup with the Galarian Corsola. However, this matchup is one that Marowak can still flip if Caleb opts to spend shields, and he's going to spend that first shield. Want to preserve this, want to go for some type of switch advantage potentially, or maybe just grab a shield back from Dreflames. As you can see, Caleb opting to charge a little bit extra energy, now goes for the Bone Club. Should be in KO range for Dreflames. Does he opt to go and shield? Yes, he's going to spend his first shield, trying to maintain switch advantage if possible, but the Murkrow down all shields is pretty scary for Dreflames, so I don't know if he spends the second shield. It's a real question, as Caleb is reaching to another Bone Club. Does he go for shield? Oh, he does shield. Okay, that's pretty big for Caleb, as he's able to potentially flip switch advantage. 1, 2, 3 Mudslaps is going to be enough, and look at how much energy is loaded onto this Marowak, as now Caleb throws the Bone Club. Not want to take any additional fast attack pressure. In comes the Credilli. Caleb, what's he going to do here? It's not the Scizor. Wants to get the Scizor onto the Marowak if possible, and now comes the Scizor into the Murkrow, as Caleb is going to pivot over, saving the Bone Club for later. Dreflames, can he Bullet Punch down all the way is the real question here. Because if he can, then he could throw a move on Charge Attack priority into the Marowak. There's still the Bastion, though, in the back. As Dreflames going for the Resisted Trailblaze is going to boost his attack quite a bit. And let's see how much extra farm he can get. Oh, does a good chunk of damage still to the Murkrow. Resisted, but still a lot. Unfortunately, not the undercharge he needs here. He doesn't have the move loaded. And now Caleb is going to throw the Bone Club. Not even waiting out the timer. Locking the Scizor in. And now he gets what he wants. It's the rematch of Bastion versus Credilli. But this time around is on completely different terms here, as this time around Bastion is in the driver's seat, full health, no energy, but you don't really need energy at this health range for the Credilli. Credilli's extra energy is not going to be enough to take out the Bastion either way. You can see Dreflames recognizing the writing on the wall here, trying to strategize now for game number 3 between these two players. And the real question is, how does he make the adjustment? The pesky Shadow Murkrow is so annoying for Dreflames. The problem is he doesn't have a lot of fast attack pressure to take this out, right? You got Mud Slap, you got Acid, which is not that much, you got Resisted Astonish, and yes, you have the Bullet Punch, which is not bad. The Shadow Talonflame would be nice in this situation. All right, game number 3 is now underway, and it's going to be Murkrow into Credilli. I feel like we've seen this matchup so many times between Caleb and opposing Credilli. The question is, how does he play it out? Sometimes he goes for a catch, sometimes he doesn't. The real question is, does he go for a catch right away here? Oh, he does, and he does catch it. The Rock Tomb onto the the Marowak. This is going to be pretty good because Caleb can know that he doesn't need to shield this. Unlikely Dreflames would throw a Grass Knot in that situation. And now comes a Scizor, but this is not the best matchup for Scizor. He's anticipating that there is a Bastion in the back, and he is right to assume that. The question is, does Caleb go for the shield? This Night Slash is going to do a good chunk, and he chooses not to shield, saving everything onto the Murkrow. So just absorbing 2 charge attacks on the Marowak and doing a little bit chip damage, but that's about it. And Caleb, anticipating that there might be a Bastion counter in the back, he is going to be correct in that assumption, knowing that Dreflames is not going to lead that weak to Bastion in the lead with no clear answers in the back. And now this energy from Caleb can provide to be pretty useful. However, into the Gastrodon, it's not going to be that great. The real question is, can he take everything out with the Murkrow? And Dreflame's not able to get that final Night Slash off. You see Caleb trying to pivot over to the Murkrow, knowing that there might be a Gastrodon coming in. Even if it's a Credilli, you could be in a good spot either way. So Murkrow going to be super safe for Caleb. And in comes the Gastrodon as he anticipated. And now here is the Credilli. Credilli, though, doesn't have any energy after throwing those moves. Does Caleb overfarm perfectly is a real question, because the acid damage isn't going to be too much here. He's going to keep throwing, and throws right before the Rock Tomb is reached. Maybe could go on for one additional one here. Does Dreflames shield? No, he's putting everything on the Gastrodon. The real question is, can he Mud Slap down though? Because this is a Murkrow. It is not the most bulky Pokemon, but it is still resisted Mud Slap damage, and Caleb going to shield up every potential body slam. He needs to land at least one drill back to have a chance here. The Bastion does have energy though, so there's a chance for him to take out the Gastrodon even if the Murkrow does go down. You can see back-to-back drill peck is loaded for Caleb, and now going for another one, probably on good timing, and is going to throw another drill peck. He still has a shield to play around with. Dreflames obviously has to shield every potential drill peck, but he's trying to count out, see, can he get to it is the real question. He still needs to. He's already taking his headset off, maybe conceding that, oh, this is not going to be enough here unless Caleb for some reason doesn't shield. But no, Caleb is going to spend the shield, only 3 pecks away, I believe, to that drill peck, and this should be in KO range. And oh, actually no, just 2 pecks is going to be enough here, as Dreflames unfortunately loses yet again to Caleb in this head-to-head matchup. And this Murkrow just being an absolute menace into Dreflames' team, as Caleb takes a 2-1 victory over Dreflames in round number 2 of the challenge. All right, we're back into Gerald's team. He made a switch from last time around. He swapped out his Araquanid for Empoleon, but otherwise it's still going to be the same exact thing. And this time around, I did read his team sheet correctly. So this is Brick Break, and this is Iron Head on the Corviknight, Brick Break on the Ferrets. Not a great lead for me, obviously, so I'm going to swap out. Actually, really bad lead. And looks like I go for the, what do you call it? Go for switch advantage, but unfortunately I did throw on charge priority, which is not great for me. So would have been nice to leave with some extra energy. Luckily though, it doesn't really cost me anything because I end up still getting to Rock Slide either way, and I don't get to another move. So end up working out, I guess. End up giving him actually a little bit less energy, so it really worked out for me in my favor. Now we flip switch advantage, and we have the Credilli into the Unova Sunfish, which is definitely the matchup I want. Last time around he shielded, so let's say if she shields again, he does. Again, the debuff is going to be pretty nice. I do have to save my shield for the Murkrow to have a potential chance. Now I go for a Grass Knot, knowing that I just need to get to 1, and I should be in a good spot. In comes the Corviknight with the Iron Head, and I'm going to leave with the Grass Knot just because I need as much energy as possible. I pretty much need to maybe come with a little bit away with some energy onto this Murkrow as well, but it's starting to get a little dicey because I don't want to get taken out here, right? Then I'm just in a really bad spot because I have to throw all the energy I already farmed away. He throws right away to avoid taking any extra damage, which is kind of nice. And hopefully the Grass Knot's enough, right? Because otherwise we can't really acid down. And oh my goodness, is Unova Sunfish so annoying here. I mean, Credilli is just not a true ground counter, right? Especially if not a double weak to grass, right? Like Gastrodon. Like this matchup versus Unova Sunfish, and sometimes even Marowak is just so annoying. Like I have the matchup I want, I still can't do anything, right? It's tough, but that's the downside of running acid on the Credilli. Obviously, I kind of need it for my team because I don't want to be too weak to fairies with a Murkrow and, Wigglytuff in particular for the Jellicent, right? So, anyway, is what it is, but Gerald does take another win off of me. I go for the debuff, and now I swap over. In comes the Ferrets, which, again, no Trailblaze. This is actually not too bad for me. I have the back-to-back Bone Club as well. I do lose Charge Check priority, so I'm not going to, throw right away. I know I survived 1 Swift. Do I just throw right away here? Oh, yeah. Okay, so I guess I'm trying to flip switch advantage yet again. I do have a ton of energy, and this will be pretty good for me because I could throw back-to-back Bone Club if it comes to it. He shields, which allows me to still flip switch advantage because I have a ton of... Yeah, what? Oh, it's weird. I'm surprised he shielded that, but works out for me. Now I get the hard counter matchup I want, right? Jellicent into the... Corviknight. I'm getting my words confused. And as we saw before, one Grass Knot's not enough anyway, so might as well chip it with the Rock Tomb, and now he's in Grass Knot range. If I threw the Grass Knot, I would just have to throw another move, right? So it's better just to debuff, do the chip damage necessary to put it in actual KO range. And now we do throw the Grass Knot. This is going to be really good for me. I KO, and finally, we got a win over Gerald. Because, yeah, that was 3 straight losses between the Cup and now, and Air Cutter not going to be enough. And we are going to a game number 3. His team is pretty annoying for me to play because the Corviknight doesn't lose really anything by not having payback outside the Jellicent matchup. But if I don't get Jellicent on it, it's better into Credilli, it's better into Florges. The Fur is also much better into Bastion. So I can't really bring Bastion here because nothing's really that weak to Bastion except for the Altari and the Wigglytuff. He doesn't really even bring that much, right? The Fur with the Brick Break is pretty annoying. In comes now the Wigglytuff. As we saw before, we could flip this matchup if I end up landing both Drill Pegs. The real question is, does he shield or not? Because I think my lead matchup wasn't great. Yeah, I just have the Marowak, so he has a lot of play into it. I actually come in Credilli instead to absorb this energy because I'm expecting that there's maybe, Stunfisk in the back, and in comes the Corviknight. I don't know, do I debuff at this moment in time? Yeah, I think I debuff. All right, so he boosted, so obviously I get rid of his boost. The boost was a little bit unfortunate. Try to leave with some energy here. Yeah, I go for the double shield. Do I leave with the energy? Because I think, yeah, now we come in Marowak. I don't know if that's the right play or not. Could have came into Marowak a little bit sooner, but these are just going to be... Actually, no, Ironhead is probably... Wait, he was a good Air Cutter. Wait, why didn't he go... I think Ironhead's better there, right? But, I mean, he has the Fur, so maybe it doesn't matter too much as long as he puts me in Swift range. Yeah, this is looking a little dicey here because the Fur has a lot of health still. There's still a Wigglytuff in the back, right? So yeah, we had to do something about this. Fur has a little bit extra energy, but I'm taking way too much damage at this moment in time, so I'm going to have to throw the Grass Knot, and yeah, the Corviknight still had to move. All right, so I guess throwing the Air Cutter was the right play. So we lose to Gerald yet again. Not a great time, but it is what it is. All right, and this is now round number 4, so I'm 2-1, and I do have to win this to have a chance to go into the top cut yet again, because 3 1s are guaranteed, 2 2s, only like 1 sneaks through, so it just a little depends. Going against my buddy Charlie, he is running the actual moveset of choice that most people run, which is Payback. He does have the Roarers, which is pretty good for my Bastiodon. He's a big believer in the Shadow Roarers, which I think is good, but not a lot of people run Bastiodon these days, so I think he probably had a lot more play into other teams with it. We go for the Chilling Water, and now comes the Roarers, and I do throw the Chilling Water. Charge Rack Priority? Yeah, what Charge Rack Priority? Okay, pretty good for me. But I forgot that the Roar's timing is I think 5-4, 5-4, so I don't actually get to its next move in time, which is kind of stupid for me to even shield, because I didn't really get anything out of that shield, so yeah, a little bit of a new play. We do get the full smackdown down, which is nice. And let's see what he has in the back. In comes the Corviknight, which is kind of weird, so I'm thinking that maybe there's a Morpeko in the back or something, I don't even know. Talonflame, either way, we're in a pretty good spot here, and in comes the Morpeko. Morpeko is going to only resist the damage, actually, with the Electric Ore Wheel. So not too bad. I do have to shield the next one. I go for the Rock Tomb just to debuff it bits, and I don't think well, I guess Grass Knot actually plus Acid might be enough, but I get the full farm down at this point, and I can actually just farm down with Bastion if it comes to it. So he goes for the bait here. I think he only threw 4, so I think it's an obvious bait. Goes for potential combo play, but not going to be able to get it. And then we're going to respect the potential payback. I don't think he's actually at it. And then we'll throw a Parting Stone Edge, a little BM for the buddy of mine. And yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Morpeko's already taken out. I thought it was still out. All right. Game number 2 here. Morpeko into Bastion. Not a great matchup for Bastion if the Morpeko starts shielding. Obviously, the Smackdowns do a good chunk of damage, but depending on what the IVs are, it's actually not too bad for the Morpeko, unless it's really bad IVs. Okay, actually, opt to swap instead. I don't have great answers to the Morpeko in the back, but Drill Peck does a good chunk of damage, so even if I get the Murkrow into it, it's not the end of the world. Go straight for the Psychic Fangs, which I think I counted correctly there. So I was actually a little surprised. But that does work out more favorably for me. And now we could go debuff. Should be able to land 2 Chilling Waters here, as the Air Cutter is not going to be enough. Actually, they might outpace me to the next move if he opts to throw right away. I think that's the real question. Do I swap? No, I just go for it. This is going to be pretty good for me because now they're debuffed. He has a chance to maybe rebuff as well. Oh, and in comes the Marowak, and this is not going to be great for him. It looks like he lagged a little bit, but this is just not a great matchup. I mean, look at the peck damage, right? It's already doing so much. Even if you bait with Bone Club, you just don't outpace at this point in time. There might be a chance for a combo play, but we'll have to watch the timer pretty carefully here. Yeah, I don't think there is enough time. Let's see. It's coming close. The problem is this Corviknight doesn't have a move to take me out, right? Even if he combo plays the Air Cutter, it's actually not too bad. It's not going to take me out. Payback's not... I mean, Payback actually probably does more damage, but he doesn't have it. And now I just leave it the move, smack down all the way, and then we can just hit it with a Flamethrower to take out the Marowak. Yeah, I guess Payback would be nice there. And good situation for, I guess, Ironhead. Ironhead Corviknight, honestly, is pretty annoying into my specific team, but I don't know if it necessarily is great. All right, now we're going back to top cuts, and myself am going on stream. So here we go. Oh, we get a rematch against Charlie. All right, so we saw this matchup play out right before top cut. So Charlie did sneak in to that top 4 despite losing to Caleb. And the only undefeated player is going to be Gerald. As you can see, Gerald and K-Pine playing in the back, and you know that Caleb does not want to play against Gerald, so let's see how that plays out. But it's going to be Caleb and Charlie to start things off in the semifinals on this side of the bracket. And it's going to be not a great lead for the Bastion, but not too bad, as Bastion has win cons against the Blastoise, especially in the one shield. Bastion does win, but Caleb just swaps straight over to the Florges. Going to get the Trailblaze off. Super effective. Does Charlie shield is a real question here. I believe Caleb had a Murkrow in the back, if I recall correctly. And so you definitely really want to try to get rid of this Blastoise, as there's not really clear answers to it. Blastoise has winning matchups against both the Bastion and the Murkrow, but grabbing a shield early is quite nice, as Caleb's thinking maybe there's not a great answer to this Florges now. And it is going to be the Corviknight and the Morpeko in the back, and it's going to be the Corviknight that comes in. But we saw this matchup play out before. I mean, unless you boost early on, it's not the best here, as now Caleb is going to throw the Chilling Water, start the first debuff, could pivot out potentially and save the Florges for later. I think that would be a great call from him. It's going to be Charge Attack priority, and the debuff obviously is going to come through here. Does Caleb opt to swap over is the real question here, because if he starts getting an energy lead on this Bastion, it could be nice, as this Corviknight is debuffed. Oh, actually opts to come in the Murkrow instead, showing his hand a bit here. And now, because Charlie was able to reboost with that Air Cutter, this is just going to be a neutral Air Cutter. Obviously, not enough to take out the Murkrow, but still doing a good chunk of damage. I've never seen Air Cutter actually do sizable amount of damage, except for against the Murkrow, as now Caleb is going to throw the Foul Play before the next Air Cutter is reached. I don't actually think this is enough to KO. Does Charlie opt to shield is the real question, and he is not going to shield. He does hang on here and saves the Air Cutter for later, so going to bank it. And now Caleb going for the Tropec. This is going to be just a Psychic Fangs. I mean, this is a Murkrow, but it still double resist Psychic Fangs. Does it KO? It's the real question. No, not even close. Does put Caleb into the red, though. It might be 2 Thunder Shocks off, as now Caleb is going to swap over to the floor, just weaving in and out with these misaligned switch timers. Morpeko going to take a neutral Trailblaze, but these Fairy Winds are super effective. They're going to start really adding up into Morpeko. It looks like Charlie going for another Psychic Fangs, and Caleb is going to shield this one here, as even though, yeah, I mean, this is not a debuff from Morpeko, right? So it's going to do a good chunk of damage if that is going to be let go. And now the Florges is going to be debuffed, and Caleb going for the full farm down, does get it. Looks like he might throw a move here. Charlie still has a shield. Throws a Chilling Water on Charge Attack priority. And this could be a shield KO if Charlie shields it. But no, he knows that it is. He's going to let it go. Putting everything on the Blastoise. Can Blastoise do it is the real question here. Blastoise, I believe, has a move loader. Yeah, so goes for the rollout and goes for the good timing here. Maybe could have gone for 2 more rollouts for some extra energy against the Florges. But Charlie maybe doesn't want the Florges to have a chance to pivot out here maybe and leave with a move that could be disastrous if that's the case, as Caleb, I believe, still has a move loaded on the Murkrow, so has a chance for a potential combo play. Stab, super effective, Hydro Cannon, but Blastoise is on the bulkier side, so it might still be okay for the Bastion. just barely under, it's about a third of Bastion's health. Still needs to land 2 of those, but the first Stone Edge is going to come through, and this is going to grab Charlie's shield. We might see a combo play, or Caleb just opting to win charge back priority later on. No, goes for the combo play, gets the drill peck off, would win charge back priority in that situation anyway. And this drill peck might be all that he needs to KO the Blastoise. And we do see the slight spoiler there, as Caleb going to take the 1-0 victory over Charlie in this first game of the semifinals. Game number 2, it's going to be Murkrow into Blastoise. Not a great lead for Caleb yet again. Let's see if he swaps out or not. And he does. He swaps to the floor. Just there's no Bastion hiding this time. There's actually going to be a Marowak waiting for it. This Marowak hoping to find a good matchup, but actually doesn't really have great matchups. Has a mirror matchup and kind of a more neutral matchup into Florges if shields are up. Caleb, though, opting to go for the same strategy as last time. And Charlie going for a similar strategy here too. Throws the Hydro Cannon, but this time around, Caleb just opts not to shield the Florges. Going to do a good chunk of damage. It's not debuff Blastoise Hydro Cannon. As we saw, it was going to be a Trailblaze that was thrown early, and now Caleb has the boosted Chilling Water. Is boosted now and is about to debuff Charlie. Does Caleb opt to pivot out is the real question now that this is going to be a debuffed Corviknight. You can see Caleb trying to swap over here, not going to be able to quite get it. Maybe go for a similar play as last time, leaves with a move. Could be useful for the back end, especially against the rest of the team of Charlie, as it is pretty strong here. Caleb opting to go for it, and yes, saves the move for later, and now he gets the matchup he wants with the Murkrow into the Corviknight. I mean, it's still not a great matchup for the Murkrow, as you can barely hang on after 2 air cutters, especially if they are boosted. However, this is a debuffed air cutter, so not going to do as much as before. Does Charlie get the boost? No, which means that Caleb is feeling confident here, feels like he could farm extra energy, and maybe expecting a more Morpeko in the back, not really sure, but the Marowak looks really strong in the back for Caleb with that shield advantage. In comes Charlie's Blastoise, and it can tank 1 Drill Peck, no problem. It can't tank 2, though. I think Charlie's going to reach the Hydro Cannon soon enough. Does he get to us? A real question. Yes, he gets there before the Drill Peck is reached. Does Caleb opt to spend his first shield? Is the real question. It will be enough to take out the Blastoise. If that's the case. No, he opts to let it go. Wants to put everything maybe on the Marowak. There's still the Florges with energy, with the move, with the catch opportunity as well. And now Caleb going for the Mud Slap down. Charlie is going to be able to get to a crucial Hydro Cannon, but the real question is, can he take out the Marowak in this mirror matchup here? I mean, Charlie still has a catch opportunity as well, too, so Caleb could potentially end up throwing a Bone Club at the Corviknight. That would be pretty good. Does have the chance to go for a potential pause, so if that's the case, but no, Charlie opts to come in with the Corviknight instead and is going to shield it up here. Caleb maybe thinking it's going to be a more Morpeko coming back, so it needs to preserve this Marowak as much as possible. As you can see, Charlie building up to the payback, and Caleb reaching for the potential Bone Club and chooses not to shield the air cutter, maybe expecting it, or maybe saying, you know what, I could tank the payback, no problem, and just throws right away here, maybe thinking, all right, I need as much health as possible for this Marowak. With the shield advantage, I could handle pretty much anything in back, even if it's a Roarus, but it's actually just going to be a mirror match. And now Caleb going to try to do as much damage as possible here, throws the Bone Club. He has the energy on the Florges, and he still has a shield, so this is pretty good for him, tier 2, unless there's a chance for a potential shield KO, but I believe Florges should win the charge back priority into the Marowak either way. As you can see, Charlie going for it. Caleb, though, throwing the Trailblaze, and Charlie doesn't actually go for the potential shield kill. I think could have been enough, but Florges should win that charge back priority anyway. And now Caleb does throw the Trailblaze to take out Charlie yet again in back-to-back matches from Swiss and now Top Cut. And this means Caleb's going to another finals here, and it's going to be another rematch versus K-Pine. I believe the 3rd time these players have played each other. Caleb was Caleb was the one to take out K-Pine and give him his only loss earlier in the challenge. Actually, no, he actually took 2 losses, but he was the 1-2-2 to make it through into the finals and into Top Cut here, as we have the bird versus bird matchup. And now Caleb actually swapping over, recognizing that, hey, his whole team is not bad into this Corviknight, so wants to draw potentially the Feraligatr. That's actually exactly what he draws out, and this is going to be pretty decent for Caleb, as he could potentially grab shields off of K-Pine's Feraligatr. K-Pine decide to shield or not. Yes, he is going to make the correct call and does shield up the Shadow Ball. This is actually a matchup, even though typing-wise it should be favorable for the Jellicent, is actually not the case. And now Caleb throwing another Shadow Ball, maybe on bad timing, catching K-Pine a little bit off guard here. But now this next Shadow Ball is going to be enough to come through. The question is, does Caleb shield here or not? I don't think he is going to. as first Hydreigon is going to come out. Let's see if K-Pine overfarms a bit more or not, as Caleb is not at the surf just quite yet. He could farm additional amounts. Could actually go for the full farm down. No, throws on perfect timing here. Just avoids the surf damage. Actually, I think he could have potentially gone for the Shadow Claw down. However, maybe not confident on the counts there for the Hex to surf, as Caleb now opting to go for, potentially a peck down, but K-Pine is able to get a shield back from Caleb, so now we are back on shield parity. However, the Murkrow has a bunch of energy still loaded, and now K-Pine is going to opt to come in right away with the Corviknight. Does Caleb opt to shield a potential Iron Head? This could be pretty big, as no, he calls it. It's just going to be a mere air cutter, as he's now building up to double foul play. First one is going to come through. The real question is, does Caleb opt to save the remaining foul play for later and come right in Bastion, or does he just try to take out the Corviknight? Yes, that's exactly what he does. And now K-Pine with the Sand Attack, with the Iron Head. It's not a bad matchup against the Bastion, but not at this health range. This health range, Bastion can go for the full smackdown all the way. The question is, can he find a win condition here, as Credilli has a lot of work cut out for itself, but every chip damage, every bit of damage from this Corviknight is huge here, as K-Pine reaches another crucial Iron Head needed. He also has Feraligatr for any potential catch potential, so that is pretty massive for him. Oh, and he actually hard locks himself into Credilli, which means that he can now not actually go for the catch. Oh, this is actually a Bullet Seed Credilli. We're actually first time seeing it here on the broadcast, so didn't realize that before. Both players were aware of this, which makes this matchup even for the Murkrow not too bad, as Murkrow is, you can see Caleb tapping away really close to where that Murkrow is, but opts to go for the Stone Edge on, I believe, Charge Type priority, which is pretty massive for Caleb if that's going to be able to be the case. Could potentially grab the final shield from K-Pine, or maybe K-Pine opts to shield, save the shield for the Dropek. Expecting that there might be a combo play in the back. Good call from him, knowing that Dropek should do a little bit more damage than Stone Edge, but Stone Edge still does a good chunk of damage. And now Caleb comes in here, tries to go for the peck down, has to spend a shield. It's going to be Rock Gym, but how much health is on the backline Pokemon? Can they get a move? Is the real question here. I think you're 1, maybe 2 pecks away, but just resisted Bullet Seed and resisted Sand Attack, resisted Shadow Claw. There's nothing that's not resisted on the Murkrow, as Caleb's looking to peck everything down with this Murkrow in low health range, but it is just enough and everything he needs here to finish off K-Pine in this first game of the finals. All right, going into game number 2 here. It's going to be Credilli versus Bastion, a fantastic lead for Caleb, and you can see Caleb actually opting to stay in here. I mean, this Feraligatr is super annoying for him because there's nothing that can eat this energy very well outside the Jellicent, but even the Jellicent has to respect it, but there's no Jellicent for Caleb this time around here, as Caleb is going to maybe tank a super effective Hydreigon. Don't really want to spend the shield on the Bastion, so he is opting to let it go, and now throws a Stone Edge on bad timing, maybe opting to not give K-Pine any additional energy onto his Feraligatr, and now Feraligatr is going to let this go. What does Caleb come in with? Comes in with the Florges. It's going to be pretty good, as Caleb doesn't really need too much health on this floor just to do much, as throws the Trailblaze on Charge Attack priority. Maybe didn't want to be in a situation where K-Pine could throw back-to-back Hydro Cannon if he overfarmed too much, and he is going to let this first move go. Does K-Pine opt to shield? I mean, if he shields, Caleb can easily shield and maintain switch advantage, so wouldn't get too much out of it, and now K-Pine is going to let this Trailblaze go. Now comes the Credilli, and it is, again, a Bolt C1, so not the worst for the Florges, as Caleb just going to throw the Chilling Water, maybe not on the best timing, but just wants to make sure it gets it off, and we get a full Bullet Seed over for K-Pine, which is actually going to be pretty good for this Credilli for what it's worth, because Credilli has a lot more playing to Bastion with Bullet Seed instead of the Resisted Acid. All right. And Rock Tomb is going to be needed to be thrown. There's no way you can Bullet Seed this down, especially debuffed. And now comes the Bastion. In comes the Gastrodon. In comes the Murkrow. Hard counter matchup for K-Pine. But he has a move, I believe, loaded on the Credilli. So maybe has a chance here for a combo play. And we saw this before. He baited before. Does Caleb fall for it yet again? 2 shields up. Can he potentially let it go? No! He falls for it and shields a Body Slam. It's still neutral, but if you let one of those go, the matchup becomes increasingly harder for K-Pine. Now, though, he has a chance to land a Water Pulse just like before, where we saw them tie in that cup. Another Mud Slap comes through, and Body Slam is there, but he's going to reach for the Water Pulse first. Do we see a potential combo play? It's a real question as the timers are coming up soon. Capon going to throw one more move. Does Caleb call it? No, gets baited yet again. Absolutely brutal for Caleb. And now here comes a potential combo play. Here's the move. Oh, wait, he's actually not even at the move, but Caleb does anticipate the combo play. So actually comes in Bastion. But this is pretty tricky because if he gets a Bastion, if a Bastion wins this matchup and the Gastron comes out with energy, he's going to have the Water Pulse, and there's no move loaded on the Murkrow just yet. You see Caleb trying to figure it out here too. What do you do? I mean, if you get taken out from the Credilli, you give him 2 moves, it's still pretty bad. So now Caleb forced to throw, unfortunately. Going for a complete undercharge, but I think this should be enough to KO here. He had to do this at that timing, otherwise the move would be loaded for K-Pine. That would not be a great time here, but K-Pine getting 2 full Mud Slaps, 1 away from the Water Pulse, and that's going to be Water Pulse coming into Caleb's Murkrow. Hard countered all the way throughout the matchup, but K-Pine still making some magic happen with 2 crucial shield baits with the Body Slam, and now we have a tied series 1-1 with only 1 final game left of this tournament in the finals. Let's see how it happens. And again, we get the faded Murkrow versus Credilli matchup, but this time around it's much better for Caleb because this is actually the Bullet Seed Credilli, and so it's not going to do nearly as well into this Murkrow matchup. 1 Rock Tomb should still KO though, but saving as much health on the Murkrow can be useful for Caleb down the road. As you can see, it has so much valuable in the same. Oh, he goes for the catch, and he catches the Rock Tomb onto Credilli. This is going to be pretty good for Caleb. It's still going to be neutral damage, but saves himself from having to use a shield on the Murkrow, which is going to be pretty massive. And that's unfortunately the tougher part with K-Pine using a 3-turn move into a 2-turn move Pokemon. Much easier for the 2-turn user like Caleb to make that catch. And now another Rock Tomb comes through. Does Caleb start shielding is a real question, as things are getting to be a little bit dicier as he is opting to go for the Grass Knot. Just wants to do as much damage as possible, expecting that K-Pine would maybe swap out or just wants to let this Credilli go down later on. I mean, Caleb doesn't have the Bastion this time around, so it could be a little bit dicier as now comes K-Pine with the Feraligatr, and this is going to be a debuff Grass Knot, so not going to do nearly as much damage, but Caleb just wants to maybe put it in Drill Peck range. Does he go for the combo play is the real question. Yes, he does. Oh, wait, he doesn't have the move loaded, though. So in comes the Hydro Cannon. Caleb going to be forced to spend his first shield. I think there's still 2 shields on the side of K-Pine side, though. That's going to be pretty good for him to have a potential. Oh, no, there's only 1 shield. So Caleb going for extra damage, and now throws a Drill Peck on Charge Attack priority. Does K-Pine go for the shield to get this move off is a real question. Yes, he does. This likely will force Caleb's hand. However, there's a potential combo play yet again. K-Pine's timer is coming up. Does Caleb see it coming? It's a real question. He's going to spend the shield, but if you can snipe this down with the Credilli, it could be absolutely huge. That's exactly what K-Pine does. You can see Caleb maybe anticipating it, trying to throw Drill Peck, but was a turn too late. And now that's going to cost Caleb his full Murkrow health as well as the energy on it. Now he comes in with the Florges, though. Florges is going to be able to get to a move before this Rock Tomb is reached, and Caleb goes for the Trailblaze. This is not going to be a great time for K-Pine here. You can see he's shaking his head as he's seeing that he was hoping it was the Bastion on the back, but no, this time around, it's the Florges. He gives the thumbs down, knowing that a boosted Trailblaze for sure will one-shot the Gastron. Can he make a catch in time is the real question. As the switch timer is not up, he's trying to wait it out as much as possible. Caleb waiting patiently, trying to avoid a catch, throws out proper timing in the middle of the Mud Slap, and this should be enough to KO a boosted Trailblazer. Closing out things out for Caleb is going to be the Florges yet again, taking out the Gastrodon of K-Pine, and that's going to be it for Caleb, winning it 2-1 in the finals, back-to-back tournaments, the cup, and now the challenge here. As you see, all smiles between these 2 competitors. A little fist bump action here. I see Dreflames. I heard that he was actually the driver for Caleb. They carpooled over, so he's trying to rush him out of there. But shout out to our casters for this fantastic series. Wilmer and Dragonite were also met with our friend Floette in the back. And of course, what a fantastic tournament for these players. And that's going to be it. Yeah, no longer casting. But yeah, big shout out to Psycho Turtle for hosting events, as well as PAL Gaming and streaming all this stuff too. They even actually made graphics of the top 4 players, which is awesome. And they post on their Twitter as well. So I will link their socials down below in case you want to ever check them out. If you end up running this team yourself, let me know how it goes. And if you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video. And I'll catch you all next one. Peace.